Um, Moving on to sort of my second last slide, when it comes to performance measurements, um, it all comes down to the maturity of ecosystems. You read, when you read, when people read, we all read literature around incubators and how we can compare different incubators. There's sort of consensus that you can't really compare. Each ecosystem has got its own different factors or what makes them work or not. But it's important to be able to understand where the different hubs, at which level they are at, and so that you can copy or benchmark yourselves against what they're doing. So a good example, a few years ago when we started, we were benchmarking ourselves against the iHub because and many other hubs like Hive Collab, because they were in a space where they were creating the community, supporting communities and things like that. Now, they also were moving to a point where they were either looking at beginning to work more closely with startups or beginning to open up and run more co-working space arrangements. Now, if we hadn't been looking at a moving target and thought, okay, maybe that's where these guys are and that's where we should be, we would have missed it. So we always have to consider that everyone is sort of moving and growing and being more specialized based on the ecosystem. And that's why it's important to visit hubs, see what they're doing, understand exactly why they're doing what they're doing, so that when you begin to compare or to benchmark, you understand the why, not just the what. By a good example, looking at a price list on a website that has co-working space, any hub, you will be tempted to copy the same pricing model and not understand exactly why they have 3 or 4 tiers and not just one, for example. Why they have particular furniture and not certain type of furniture. So I think that when we're looking at performance measurement, it really has to come down to what can work in your own ecosystem, as much as you are learning from others, but adapt, test. If it doesn't work, don't feel bad about it. Try something that could potentially work, so that at the end of the day, your hub is as unique as possible. So maturity of the ecosystem is important in assessing where you are, where the others are. Whether you're looking at the top destinations, East Africa, West Africa, and South Africa, Nigeria, Kenya, and South Africa, it's important to just be able to understand what is happening in those economies, so that you don't end up copying and pasting something that doesn't work. Number 2 and 3, what does success mean to you? It's important because if success to you means, if success to you is measured against the success of a hub in Kenya, I can tell you that, and you're not in Kenya, I can tell you that you will fail. The challenges that you'll be going through and your goals in your own ecosystem are what you should consider first, and try as much to learn based on what similarities are. And also in terms of the role that the staff members play in this. In terms of performance measurement, and I know that hubs, we're all busy trying to make things work. At the end of the day, you have to ask yourself the question, who is actually responsible for ensuring that we are keeping to our true north? For some hubs, we reach a point where we can afford someone who sits there and measures impact, and that's their daily job. For those of you that cannot afford to have someone who focuses just on M&E, how do we ensure that the leadership of the hub or the hub manager at least spends time every week questioning whether you are doing the right thing, questioning, finding answers to whether you are achieving particular targets that have been set, and also that you are actually sharing that information in a way that can be understood by different stakeholders in your space.